Buck Sexton is a former CIA analyst. He's now at The Hill. He joins us tonight. Buck, thanks a lot for coming on. So a serious question. This seems legitimately irresponsible to me for people in authority to talk like this, to allege something like this when they don't really have any evidence that it's true. What's the long-term effect of talking like this on the agencies these people say they're trying to protect?
Well, Tucker, there are these very senior government officials that you'd like to think going forward, any president, not just this president, could rely on for some degree of professional ethics and discretion. I mean, when you have a sitting president, as we do right now, who is being accused of treason by a former intelligence chief, John Brennan, who's being accused of the most unethical, wild behavior, being an agent of Russia. And the long-term ramifications of that are just that people who are going to hold that office, the presidency, are going to say, well, is every conversation I have with this intel chief, Tucker, I come from this community. They're supposed to be nonpartisan, objective professionals, kind of like journalists, but that's another conversation. But they're supposed to be serving their country and the mission first and foremost. And these are political actors in a way that are going to change the relationship the presidency has with these organizations. And also on your point about the evidence, by the way, we have had now 2 years of a special counsel, give or take a few months, using the most sophisticated surveillance apparatus in the history of mankind. We're also told that Donald Trump is incompetent, doesn't know anything, doesn't understand anything. And we have no hard evidence of him being a Russian agent. This is a mass delusion now that's being perpetuated by people who should know better. But Tucker, I actually believe a lot of them now don't. I think that they have engaged in this public self-immolation of their credibility because they've come to believe it.
The message, if you take a few steps back, is that the unelected bureaucracies, the agencies in the executive branch, are more powerful than the elected president. That's what I'm concluding. That's the opposite of democracy, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And when you saw this New York Times story that broke and people said, oh, here we go once again, Russia, Trump, now we know that they're the FBI. Yeah, the same FBI that, by the way, has had people fired for cause, by the way, from the top reaches. At least one former senior FBI agent, McCabe, may be facing criminal prosecution for lying about how he was conducting himself here. So there's been bad behavior at that FBI. But, Tucker, they're pointing to Trump and saying, oh, because, and remember, this is just a small group at the top of the organization. This is not the rank and file.
Right.
They're saying that Trump was acting against the national security interests of the United States. So they needed to investigate him because of that. Meanwhile, firing James Comey is just good business. That's a good idea based on everything that we've seen. And also, it's dangerous for bureaucrats to think that they determine what's in our national security interest above the commander-in-chief.
Civilian control of the military, of the federal agencies, is like the cornerstone of democracy. Voters get to make these decisions. They elect someone to act on their behalf. And when people haven't been elected, make it unilaterally, that's not democracy. This is actually scary. Buck Sexton, as always, so incisive. Thank you.
Great to see you, Tucker.